Welcome to A Fortnight on the Isle. I'm your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC, and the last time that I did one of these videos, it had been nearly 2 months since the prior one. On account of a hiatus and just being busy prior to that, that's kind of what happened. This time it has only been the allotted 2 weeks, which is proper, but these 2 weeks, I have to say, felt like an entire 2 months. Being able to work on this kind of stuff basically non-stop has been great. Like, I'm still coming to a workflow groove now that I'm unemployed at the moment, but last weekend I had a panic attack thinking I'd forgotten about A Fortnight on the Isle. I'd managed to get so much done in that week, it felt like it should have been 2 weeks worth of time instead of just one. It was definitely kind of a weird feeling, but in a weird way also kind of liberating as well. It's just kind of really cool. So yeah, I'm excited about the possibilities that opens up regarding future projects, especially as I continue to improve and work on and adapt my workflow, as I said. I just think that the rest of the summer is looking to be pretty great, and I certainly hope it is. We'll talk a little bit more about this in some other respects in the next State of Affairs, but we also have the bi-weekly update stuff to get through right now, so let's go ahead and jump into that. We'll start off just like normal with the bi-weekly reading and talk about a couple of the books that I've been working on. Now, I did start Winter's Heart by Robert Jordan, 9th book in the Wheel of Time. If I could get that to be clear. There we go. It was that way for a second. I'm about halfway through this at this point, and the time that this video is coming out, I'm just starting the 3rd week's worth of reading, which obviously the 3rd Wheel of Time diary regarding it will come out this Thursday. We'll talk more about future releases a little bit later. But I gotta say, the first half of this was a little bit of a struggle to get through. The prologue had a couple of good scenes, but the rest of it didn't really feel prologue-ish, so it didn't feel right. The first 6 chapters were super slow. I would say even the next 2 or 3 chapters after that were also pretty slow. Like, they still had some things going on that I had to keep track of, but they were still pretty slow. It took until the most recent couple of chapters before things really picked up in a way that was like, oh yeah, that was actually some really cool information that we're getting, to the degree that it was so much information I would almost argue it was too much. It was actually a little bit overwhelming to some degree. I also did get started on Howling Dark, my second reread of the book by Christopher Ruocchio. I am, of course, holding up the Russian edition, even though I don't speak Russian. That's because the naked hardbacks on these are beautiful. It's been going super great so far. I'm not quite all the way through the first arc of the story. I would split this book up into 5 arcs that make up 3 acts, basically, and the first 2 arcs make up the first act. So I believe I'm on chapter 14 or something at this point that I got up to this morning. That as of recording, so on Saturday. And it's just really good, really special. The same thing that happened with Empire of Silence is happening with Howling Dark right now. There's just so much more emotional poignancy that I'm getting out of it on account of having read through Disquiet Gods, but especially even now with Howling Dark, having read through Shadows Upon Time and being able to re-experience some of these earlier stories. Everything just smacks like a freight train. It is absolutely emotionally devastating to read through things that, some things that aren't even devastating, it's just, but other things that are, of course, because Sun Eater, but there are moments that shouldn't even be packing that much of a punch that I look at, and it's just that's a subtle reference for something in one of the last couple of books that's gonna really kill somebody when they reread this and realize what that means. So yeah, definitely one of those types of books, and I'm really enjoying it so far and excited to continue it and definitely be done probably halfway through August or so. We'll see what happens there. Over this fortnight, I was going to read While Darkness Gathers. I had planned to do that. In fact, I had various points where I could have done that, but last week, well, I guess as of this video's release, it would be 2 weeks ago. So the first week of this fortnight that I'm covering here, I had multiple opportunities to start While Darkness Gathers, and more than that, had multiple opportunities to even be able to read the whole thing. It's short enough for that. But I ultimately opted out of doing that and was instead working on some other projects instead, because I had a good opportunity, a good window with the house to myself to just kind of plow through certain projects that I otherwise would have been obligated or needed to split up into several days that I could have got done over just a couple days. So that's what I ultimately ended up doing. I did not end up reading While Darkness Gathers this fortnight, and I also didn't get to any short stories or anything like that either. So my reading planning for the next couple weeks is I definitely plan to get to While Darkness Gathers by the end of the month, not least because I am planning to be finished with this book by the end of the month. In fact, I'm planning to be finished with this book maybe in about a week or so. But either way, I will be done with this book at least a couple days before the end of the month, which will leave me enough time to still read While Darkness Gathers before the next reading wrap-up and TBR video comes out. And then we'll see what happens, but I may or may not end up reading some more Adamant stuff. Story 2 and 3, I still need to get back to rereading here at some point soon. And there's a possibility that I'll get to take a look at the upcoming 4th story that will come out on Christopher's Patreon on August 10th. But given that August 10th isn't until, like, let's see, 3 weeks from now, I wouldn't count on that. We'll end up seeing what happens. So that's everything for the reading. The bi-weekly gaming has been a little bit exciting, but also a little bit different than what I was expecting when I did the last one of these videos. So over the last couple weeks, I did get through playing all of Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster, did that replay of that game, recorded the entire Let's Play of that because I was playing that for a Let's Play, and it actually went very well and went quite quickly, only about 12 to 13 hours or so for that recording, if I remember correctly. Given that there's no unique mob grinding associated, or mob enemy grinding, I guess, in that playthrough to account for getting, like, bestiary completion, because I already had that as well as all of the other achievements, I plowed through what I remembered of the game pretty quickly. I still got effectively 100% outside of, like, encountering every monster in this run, of course, but I was able to get through all of that game in just a couple of days. That was kind of the project that I was able to work on a couple of weeks ago while I had the house to myself for a few days. I was like, I'm just going to plow through this Let's Play and get through all of that in just a couple of days, and I did that, and it was a really fun time. I'd been planning for that to take up to like 5 days, and again, I only got it done in a couple of them, so that was really great. Highly enjoyable game, great time. We'll be editing the Let's Play probably this week, but if not, it will be next week. And if it does get pushed into being edited next week instead of this week, it is because this week I still need to play a little bit more of Expedition 33. I did not get to any of it over the past fortnight like I thought I would, because I just was working on too many other things the last couple weeks. I was preparing a couple of other videos that were, running a little bit shorter, close to the end of time than I would have preferred on account of the current schedule that I'm running, but because of those video projects, I didn't play anything besides Final Fantasy 1 the past couple weeks. But this week I do want to finally circle back around to it and actually finish the game, or at least finish Act 3, because I started, or rather the last time that I played, I stopped right at the start of Act 3, so I know that Act 3 isn't very long. I just want to get through that and then start actually working on endgame stuff and getting through some of that pretty consistently. Given some other obligations that I'll have here in a couple of weeks, and another project that I'm really preparing to start working on in full here soon, and we'll talk about that once I get to it. I don't know how much of the game, like I said, I'll be able to play, but I would like to get the platinum this fortnight if I could. Not likely, but I would certainly like to. As for the bi-weekly cinema for film and TV related stuff, you will see here very soon a video where I discuss the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, because I did watch How to Train Your Dragon 2 and The Hidden World over this past fortnight. In fact, I did that pretty shortly after doing the last Fortnight on the Isle video, if I remember correctly. I would give How to Train Your Dragon 2 a solid 4 out of 5. I was a bit disappointed by the climax and definitely by the villain, but the first half of the movie, the opening of the movie, is definitely the best of the trilogy. So I was like some really high highs, but also had the lowest lows of the trilogy, in my opinion. I genuinely really liked the movie, but didn't come out of it being my favorite. In the end, it's actually my least favorite of the three of them. But again, the first half of the movie is just so incredible. The Hidden World, the third movie, this was my first time watching it, whereas How to Train Your Dragon 2, I had watched a couple of times, like a decade ago. But The Hidden World I had never watched before. Came out of this giving it another 4.5 out of 5. There are a handful of minor gripes that I have about The Hidden World, but considering that the villain actually made sense to me, even if he's also a little bit tropey, and the way that this movie tackles themes and stuff like that, on balance, I just kind of found it more enjoyable than How to Train Your Dragon 2, because How to Train Your Dragon 2 just was so much lower for half of the film than this one was. And of course, the epilogue of The Hidden World is just so good, and ultimately ended up closing a really good film trilogy. I just had a really great time with it. But more on How to Train Your Dragon as we move into the bi-weekly releases here. We're talking about the videos that I'm going to have coming out on the channels over the next 2 weeks. I'm excited to announce that tomorrow, Monday the 21st, Movie Magic Episode 2 will come out, where I cover the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy and actually discuss how much I think it holds up. That video ended up being quite lengthy. In fact, I just recorded it before I'm recording this one, and that recording is an hour long. I don't think the final video will be that long. It'll probably be like 45-ish minutes, but it's a long one, so I hope people are excited for that. On Tuesday, the 22nd, on the main channel, I'll have a book review for The Dead Zone by Stephen King coming out. That one won't be a scripted one like a couple of other book reviews that I've done recently have been, but still happy with that review as a whole. Happy with that book as a whole. It was a good one. This Thursday on the 24th will be Wheel of Time Diary Episode 3, kind of like I discussed earlier, or Wheel of Time Diary Episode 48. It'll be the third video on Winter's Heart specifically, so that'll be on Thursday. And then this Saturday on the 26th will be a sort of miscellaneous Let's Play episode, except it won't be a Let's Play episode. That video is actually asking for people to vote on what my next Let's Play games end up being. So the video is only like 6 minutes long. I briefly go over, some of the games that I would like to be able to Let's Play pretty soon, and I have included in the description, and I'll also put in the pinned comment of that video, the Google form link that you can fill out to vote on the games that I play. So if you're interested in seeing particular Let's Plays on the channel, definitely check out Saturday's video and vote on things there. Next week, 28th, a Monday, will be Music Mania episode 16 on the second channel. That will be obviously covering what I thought is the best music of July 2025. Actually kind of been liking not doing Music Mania every single week. It's rather relieving to not have a video that I have to do every single weekend, so that I can have a little bit more time to focus on other things, energy to focus on other things, but still be able to talk about music in some capacity. So that episode will be coming out next Monday. Next Tuesday on the 29th on the main channel will be my re-review for Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. So the first book in the Sun Eater, having reread that just a couple of months ago, and especially being able to do that with the special edition text was really special, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it to such a degree that I decided to write a full-on review for it, to put that on Goodreads, and I decided to make that a re-review of the book on the channel. I don't do re-reviews very often. I'm not the type of person to want to reread a book a million times and then just cover the same thing, but I think I'm going to do that with Sun Eater as I continue doing these rereads, because they're just so special, and I want the re-reviews to be more encompassing of the series as a whole, instead of just a first-time reader more or less reacting to how I thought of the book. So that review will be next Tuesday. I'm excited for that one. I enjoyed writing that script, so, I hope people like it. Next Thursday on the 31st, also on the main channel, will be the fourth Wheel of Time Diary on Winter's Heart. It should be the finale of that. Not much else to say there. That's all she wrote on that one. And then finally, next Friday on the 1st, on the second channel, will be when the Final Fantasy Let's Play actually starts. So, like I said, this Saturday will be the video where I ask for people to vote on what my next Let's Play is, but then the next, 12 weeks, 11 weeks, I forget exactly how many episodes the Final Fantasy Let's Play ended up being, but it'll be a few months that you'll have to be able to actually vote on that form to decide my next Let's Play while the Final Fantasy Let's Play comes out. But episode 1 does come out on the 1st of August. And with that being said, I am on a time crunch to get this video edited, and then I would also like to get the How to Train Your Dragon Trilogy video edited before the end of Saturday as well, just so that I can have a day off tomorrow. Being a workaholic kind of sucks sometimes, but nonetheless, that is what I have planned out for the moment. Thank you for watching this video. If you did, if you have any questions about some of the things that I'm working on at the moment or anything that I talked about in this video, feel free to shout those out in the comments below. Just a reminder, this video is on both the main channel and the second channel. If you have any interest in any of the topics that aren't pertaining to the particular channel you're watching, books for the main channel, non-books for the second channel, you can check the other out in the description below and, you know, get more content from me if you would like. Thank you once again for watching. For now, I've been your host, King Crusoe. You can call me KC, and I hope to see you guys in really any of the videos that I post over the next couple of weeks.